And of course, also we'll talk about updates coming from other sports. For example, Formula One. The Formula One season ended last weekend. We'll do a quick review of what happened in Formula One season 2022. Lewis Hamilton did not get to win even one race throughout a whole Formula One calendar year. And of course, also talk about basketball. The NBA continues. And of course, also we'll talk about what is happening on the Nigerian scene. So much to talk about on the show this afternoon. Let me just tell you that I'm not going to be alone on the show this afternoon. I've got someone right here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time, make welcome to the Splash FM studios, Samuel. Good afternoon, Samuel. Funny enough, I never asked what your full name was. Maybe I'll do that right now. Good afternoon, Samuel, and it's a pleasure to have you around here.
Yeah, of course, always a pleasure, when you're with Femighty, the man that actually makes everything easy and everything goes smoothly. So you asked for my name. You've always called me one particular thing.
Yeah, but I didn't want to introduce, this first time. I didn't want to start with violence.
Which I'm sure you don't want to, call out this time around. Yeah, I go by the name Ajibola Samuel, actually. Those are the two names that I like to use. There are some couple of other names, and there's a very long story to that, how I decided to stick with just two names. Used to have surname, first name, and other names, but today is not the day to talk about the story. Just to keep it short, Ajibola Samuel is the name, and of course, it's a very big pleasure to be here once again.
Okay, definitely a pleasure to have you around. Okay, let me quickly get your take on what is happening right now. I mean, as I said earlier, Tunisia are currently trailing to Australia by 1-0. Mitchell Duke actually gave Australia the lead in the 23rd minute of the encounter. The first game for Tunisia was a goalless draw against Denmark, who were encouraged by that result. But then, do you see this coming, considering how France totally demolished, Australia in their own opening game of the tournament?
Yeah, and to be candid, I really never gave any African side a chance, to be candid, and as much as I didn't give any African country a chance, I expected that Tunisia, even though I was very, very magnanimous with my expectations, I did not expect that Tunisia would be able to defeat Australia, because the 5 past appearances of Tunisia in the World Cup always have ended in defeats. Not defeats really, but they've not progressed past the group stage. And while I was, before the match, reading out some statistics, I actually found out that Tunisia, and especially in this tournament, Tunisia, Australia, and Saudi Arabia are prone to have had the worst loss percentage when you talk about rates. I mean, Tunisia stands at 60, Saudi Arabia are more than 60, and of course, Australia more than 60. So that sort of gave me hope that, coming into this particular competition or this particular match, maybe, playing against a team that, to a very large extent, has had a poor loss percentage than you would have been able to at least do some couple of magic and probably do the African continent proud. But unfortunately, it looks like what has been happening to them in the past, not making it past the group stage, is happening once again. And I'm not surprised, actually.
It is what it is right about now. Tunisia are currently losing to Australia by 1-0. While two teams now have played their second game of the tournament when it comes to African representation. 3 more. Let me quickly ask you before we go for a quick break, what is the hope of African teams at the tournament? I mean, the whole of Africa was agog yesterday as Senegal, defeated the host country, Qatar, which definitely sent Qatar out of the tournament. First team to qualify, first team to crash out. But that sort of gave Africa hope that, hey, maybe at least one of them can qualify to the second round, and maybe it will not be like 2018 where all the African countries crash out of the group stage. But then, what is the hope of African countries at this tournament?
I think if we are to give kudos to any African team that, gave us hope in the African continent, I should give it to Ghana. Actually, being able to score
performance-wise.
Yeah, performance-wise, being able to score 2 goals. I mean, prior to that particular match, no African side had actually scored a goal in this particular tournament, and against almighty Portugal, coming off the back of defeating almighty Super Eagles 4-0. You would have expected that Ghana actually stands no chance, and even the fashion with which Portugal actually won that match. Dubious, some offside calls, some penalties that, some claims that... No, I'm not against, officiating and anything. I have my own stance about that.
Okay.
But you know, people still have claims. They could say blah, 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 this, that. But just to cut the long story short, African side not scoring and Ghana scoring 2 goals sort of gave up hope that, if Ghana can score against the Portuguese side, then we can do it. And looking at what Senegal did yesterday, probably a new, you know, refreshed hope or adding more fire, petrol to the fire of hopes that, you know, we've had coming from what Ghana had done. But I think, to just cut the long story short, African continent, like I said, I have some couple of statistics, and I've been monitoring our games right from the AFCON. If you look at all the African continent all the countries that is representing Africa right now, go back to the AFCON. Even Senegal, that seems to have the hopes right now, Senegal struggled in the group stages. You know, they had some couple of penalties, and even en route qualifying, you remember they played Egypt. They found it difficult to score, and
it eventually ended in penalties.
It eventually ended in penalties. So, I mean, if you do the calculation and the combination, you will see that probably maybe only Morocco and maybe Cameroon, they are the teams that have the flair and have, you know, the knack for goals in amongst the African teams that are actually representing us in this tournament. So it's not surprising what I'm saying. I mean, the last couple of games for Senegal, Sadio Mane seems to have been the point man, especially when they are struggled to find the back of the net. He just does, you know, some couple of magic and a moment of brilliance. He pulls them out of that particular gut, and you see them, you know, up there. But unfortunately, it's out of the tournament. And like I said, I'm definitely not surprised.
Okay, well, you're definitely not surprised. Just to let you know that we are currently streaming live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Splash FM 105.5. You can go there and, of course, follow, watch, and, of course, comment and like. We've got to go for a quick commercial break right about now. When we come back from this break, we'll talk about the chances of Senegal. Yesterday, they won against Qatar and gave themselves some lifeline. But then the draw between Ecuador and Netherlands ensure that the race of the 2 teams that will qualify from Group A of the FIFA World Cup will go down to the wire. When we come back from this commercial break, we'll talk about permutations on how Senegal can make it out of Group A of the FIFA World Cup, because it looks like, as it stands, like Senegal are carrying the only hopes of African countries. I mean, Cameroon right now will have to beat Brazil, you know, to have a chance of qualifying, and well, others, you know, would have to do some very big things. For example, I think there's an African country, Morocco, that would have to beat France to qualify. So it's looking like the hopes of Africa is on the shoulders of Senegal. When we come back from this break, we'll talk mathematically about how Senegal can make it out of the Group A of the FIFA World Cup. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Splash FM 105.5.
Nǹkan mẹ́ta tá à ń fẹ́ jùlọ nínú ìgbé ayé wa ní ìdùnnú, òmìnira àti ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Kàn sí wa lónìí ní Tọ́pẹ́ Edward Realty Company Limited. Ká sì tọ́ ọ sọ́nà bó ṣe rìn, bóyá o fẹ́ ta ilẹ̀ tàbí ilé ni, tàbí o sì fẹ́ rà á. Tó o bá ra ilé tàbí ilẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìtọ́sọ́nà wa, ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ àti ìdùnnú pípé dájú fún ọ. Nítorí pé ìwọ náà yóò mọ̀ wípé dúkìá tó yanrantí ló kówó rẹ̀ lé. Èyí ń wá nìkan kọ́ o. A tún ní àwọn ilẹ̀ àti ilé tá a ti ṣèwádìí wọn dájúdájú tó fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ gidi fún rírà. Pè wá báyìí lórí 0815-225-0214 tàbí 0809-842-3000. O sì tún lè kàn sí ọ́fíìsì wa ní Decat House, Ring Road, Ìbàdàn. Tọ́pẹ́ Edward Realty Company Limited. Ìdùnnú, òmìnira àti ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀.
Victory International Church káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ń pè ọ́ sí Rehoboth 2022. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àkókò àbẹ̀wò látòkè wá fún ìgbàlà, ìwòsàn, ìtúsílẹ̀, àlùyọ àti ọ̀pọ̀ òjò ìbùkún. Àkórí ìpàdé ni ìyàlẹ́nu ńlá, bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́rú ọjọ́ keje títí di ọjọ́ àìkú ọjọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2022. Látọjọ́rú títí di ọjọ́ ẹtì a ó máa pàdé ní City of Faith lójú ọ̀nà márosẹ̀ Èkó sí Ìbàdàn. Ọjọ́ Sátidé gbọ̀ngàn Wonder City tó dojúkọ City of Faith láti pàdé láago 8 òwúrọ̀ òwúrọ̀ fún ìsìn ìfòròyàn tó bá di ọjọ́ àìkú a ó pàdé ní Rehoboth Cathedral Olúyọ̀lé Ring Road Ìbàdàn láago 8 òwúrọ̀. Bishop Taiwo Adélakùn àti Pastor Mrs. Dọlápọ̀ Adélakùn ni yóò máa ṣe iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. Wá pàdé àwọn òjíṣẹ́ nínú orin Evangelist Dr. Bọ́lá Àrẹ, Pastor Wisdom Chigozie, Monique àti BJ Sachs. Olùgbàlejò àti oníwàásù Bishop Taiwo Adélakùn àti Pastor Mrs. Dọlápọ̀ Adélakùn retí rẹ. Jésù lolúwa.
It's Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales. This Friday at all Food Court outlets in Ibadan, Lagos and Abeokuta, Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales with never seen before discounts on all your favorite items. Power oil 4.5 liters, 7,290 naira, now 5,999 naira 99 kobo. Hypo bleach 1 liter, 1,080 naira, now 889 naira 99 kobo. Chivita premium juice 1 liter, 795 naira, now 599 naira 99 kobo. Nestle Golden Morn Classic with soya 800 grams, 1,720 naira, now 1,399 naira. Cadbury Bonvita Vitality Drink 500 grams, 1,250 naira, now 999 naira 99 kobo. You can also order online at www.foodco.ng. Get ready for the grand opening of our new store at Alawa Kala Express on Friday 2nd December 2022. Foodco Black Friday Gidigba sales from Friday 25th to Sunday 27th November 2022. Offers available while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Why is this television signal clear? What? Since yesterday? And this fridge isn't cold? I can't believe this.
Okay, I could barely sleep last night because of this noisy generator.
Wahala for who knows the original electronics buy.
Solar Telecoms and Electronics Store, the Jagaban of phones and electronics, is the one-shop place to get quality original electronic appliances at the lowest price this season. In fact, Solat is currently offering you 20% end-of-the-year discount on flat-screen TVs, deep freezers, generators, air conditioners, washing machines, gas cookers, and other appliances. What are you waiting for?
Visit Solat Electronics Showroom today on Bafemi Awolowo Way, J. Allen Dube, Balloon Building, Abayomi Bus Stop, Iwo Road, Solat Megastore, Mokola, and Challenge, and other outlets.
Call Solat Electronics today on 0813-539-9886 or 0816-706-6973.
Offer on while stock lasts.
You deserve the best.
It's Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales. This Friday at all Food Court outlets in Ibadan, Lagos and Abeokuta, Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales with never seen before discounts on all your favorite items. Power oil 4.5 liters, 7,290 naira, now 5,999 naira 99 kobo. Hypo bleach 1 liter, 1,080 naira, now 889 naira 99 kobo. Chivita premium juice 1 liter, 795 naira, now 599 naira 99 kobo. Nestle Golden Morn Classic with soya 800 grams, 1,720 naira, now 1,399 naira. Cadbury Bonvita Vitality Drink 500 grams, 1,250 naira, now 999 naira 99 kobo. You can also order online at www.foodco.ng. Get ready for the grand opening of our new store at Alawa Kala Express on Friday 2nd December 2022. Foodco Black Friday Gidigba sales from Friday 25th to Sunday 27th November 2022. Offers available while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
I get belle so I supposed to take care of myself. Don't make my body dey kakaraka.
Okay, nah. If you want make you and the pikin wey dey your belle tranga well, make you dey take iron and folic acid medicine every day. When you get belle, when you take iron and folic acid, your blood no go short, and the pikin wey dey your belle go dey do well. Plus, say make you dey visit health center wey near you for antenatal care. This message now from IRIN Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
Are you in need of a nice and comfortable, fully furnished hostel accommodation in the University of Ibadan? Or are you in search of a place for seminars and executive trainings? Look no further. Adebayo Akonde Hall is the go-to place for your lodging needs with a home away from home feel. Adebayo Akonde Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akonde Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. For inquiries and reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call 080-5699-8718 or 080-5699-8719 or 080-5699-8720. Adebayo Akonde Hall. Built for comfort. Built for you.
Hey,
Hey, make I tell you about one place where you go feel win. Not be just win big. Paripesa.ng. Yes, so Paripesa, they give you better option on top sports bet, slot, casino, virtual games, and plenty more. For you to open your own account for Paripesa.ng, it is simple. 10 seconds, you don't open now. And with just 250 naira, you self in a shout, I don't win. Join Paripesa, make you feel claim your 100,000 naira betting bonus, and you will also get 150 free spins plus 750,000 naira for their casino bonus. Paripesa, they pay money sharply. They also they give you better high odds, plenty giveaway, even VIP cashback. You will also win free laptop and smartphone for inside their regular leaderboard promo. So download the Paripesa application on top your Android or iOS phones. Make you go on top their website, will be www.paripesa.ng, and there you go to claim your own bonus with the promo code radio and start to win plenty. Paripesa, dare to bet, dare to win.
Okay, welcome back from that break. And of course, this is still World Sports this beautiful Saturday afternoon. And we're live here at Walters Falele in the city of Ibadan. Of course, the FIFA World Cup is still ongoing, and of course, we're still talking about what is happening when it comes to the FIFA World Cup. Right now, Tunisia currently in action against Australia, and it's right now 1 goal to nothing in favor of Australia against Tunisia. Tunisia loses this, and I still got Samuel right here in the studio with me. Realistically, Tunisia loses this, and they're out of the tournament because any chance of qualification will depend on their ability to defeat France in their final round, in their final group stage game, which I think you called impossibility while we were on break.
Yeah, like I said earlier, 5 World Cup appearances, not been able to make it out of the group stage, not even once. At least you can. As much as Nigeria always fumbles and wumbles, we've made it out of the group stages
a couple of times,
and
1994, 1998,
and much more disappointing for me was the fact that Tunisia. Well, I think they played Mali in the 3rd round of the qualification, although they defeated Mali away. Yeah, I remember when Mali came to their own home. Mali unfortunately couldn't score a goal, and the away goal counted for them. And Australia is a team that had to go through the playoffs. They played Peru, and even after playing the playoffs, they still had to go to the penalties. I remember back then, because I watched the playoff, the coach of Australia had to make one very crazy substitution. The last minute decided to bring on a goalkeeper to actually come and salvage that particular situation, and that the gamble actually worked well for Australia. So a team that came from the playoffs and a team that qualified, I think as it stands right now, defeating Karim Benzema-less France, but we've seen what they've been able to do against Australia. I think it's a no-brainer. Senegal out.
Okay, definitely Senegal out. This is Senegal out, Tunisia out.
Sorry, Tunisia
okay,
out.
Tunisia out now. That's remaining 4 teams to qualify from Africa. But before we talk about the permutation of how at least 2 of those 4 teams can qualify, let's just quickly tell you that you can drop your comments on our Facebook page on www.facebook.com/Splash FM 105.5. And the question is, how many African countries do you think would make it to the next round of the FIFA World Cup as it stands? How many African countries do you think would qualify, and which of these countries do you think have the chance to actually qualify to the next round of the tournament? That is the question today. So you can go on our Facebook fan page and, of course, comment on our live video. And you can also reach us in the studio on 009 155 1055 or 005 699 8678 or 070 694 93,000. Those are the numbers to reach us in the live studio here. Okay, quickly, let's talk about the permutations. Let's start with Senegal. Yesterday, we're all happy after Senegal beat Qatar, sending out the host country out of the tournament. But let's talk about the chances of Senegal. I think their qualification got blurred by the draw that was played by Ecuador and Netherlands, because as it stands right about now, Netherlands stands at 4 points, top of the table based on just basically semantics. Ecuador second with 4 points also. Senegal third with 3 points. Qatar bottom with no point. What are the chances of Senegal actually making it out of this group?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough one. And like I said, I really never rated any African side. Forgive me if I'm sounding, not African. But, I mean, okay, let's talk about the chances. And, of course, I would like to go back to the beginning of this particular year when Senegal participated in the AFCON. And
they won it.
Yeah, going back to the first, we need to draw, some lines here.
Okay.
Going back to the first game against Zimbabwe in their group, they actually struggled to, score Zimbabwe. And the only goal they got in that particular match came courtesy of a penalty that Sadio Mane scored in the 97th minute. Now, if you leave that, they played the second game of the group stage against Guinea. Unfortunately, it was a 0-0 draw. They couldn't break a Guinean side. And the next game of that particular tournament, which was the third game of the group stages, they played Malawi. Unfortunately, they couldn't score against Malawi. So you want to draw a line, like I said, Malawi, Guinea, they couldn't score against them. And of course, Zimbabwe, just one goal. And this is a group that you'd have expected that Senegal,
they blow through.
We streamroll everyone. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And the next game, the round of 16, was against Cape Verde. And they defeated Cape Verde 2-0. I remember that particular match. But Cape Verde got a red card in that match, if you remember vividly. Then they went on to play Equatorial Guinea and some couple of brilliant moments. Equatorial Guinea also gave them a very big, tough time. But at least they were able to score 3 goals against Equatorial Guinea. Then went all the way, to play Burkina Faso, defeated them 3-1 also. A game that I definitely have to give it to them. They had stuff of champions. Well, against Egypt, had to go to the penalties. They won 4-2 penalties. And if you go down, they played Egypt once again, en route for the final.
Twice, and it had to go to penalties again.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's those strengths of performance for a side that we are seeing as. I mean, when the likes
they're supposed to be the best in Africa.
They're supposed to be the best in Africa, but struggling against the likes of Guinea, you can say yes, probably the first games of the tournament they will struggle, but I mean, not like Guinea, not like Malawi. But after that, they've played, in the COSAFA Cup actually, and in the COSAFA Cup, if I go back, I think they've played. Okay, they were not the one that actually played in the COSAFA Cup, but with what I've been able to draw right now, let's go to what Ecuador have been able to do over the past couple of games before the World Cup in itself. I mean,
because this will definitely come down to the Ecuador-Senegal game, right?
Definitely. So I remember Ecuador before the World Cup actually. Before the World Cup, the last match that they conceded a goal this time around was the match that they played against Argentina. That was in March 2022, actually. Yeah, March 2022. And they played out a 1-1 draw on the 30th of March 2022. After that, they played Nigeria, they played Mexico, they played Cape Verde, they played Saudi Arabia, they played Japan and Iraq in preparation for the World Cup. And they didn't concede any goal in those, I think, about 7 matches, actually. And unfortunately, also, they couldn't score a goal, especially against the likes of Saudi Arabia, a World Cup team, Japan, a World Cup team, Iraq, probably not a World Cup team, but Iraq also. But Iraq was another team that gave Iran a run for their money and route qualification. So what I'm trying to say is that coming into the World Cup, I expected, because when I was doing my analysis, I expected that at least they couldn't score goals. but they couldn't concede. So, and their defense is resilient, but the attack is not having anything to show.
But Venezuela are throwing of otherwise. Is the highest goal scorer right now?
Exactly what is shocking me right now. A team that struggled to score coming into the World Cup, now scoring, against Qatar, a very brilliant match where you wouldn't have expected Qatar to do.
Well, the Netherlands performance was the one that surprised most of us.
It surprised me also that because the defensive resilience of Netherlands against Senegal was absolutely very brilliant. I mean, Matthijs de Ligt, Virgil van Dijk, is it Stefan de Vrij, and what's the name of Daley Blind? Very, very brilliant. And with what their goalkeeper Nopeth did, against, in contrast with what Mendy was doing on the other hand, I never expected that Ecuador would score against them. But Ecuador scoring once again, and like I said, Senegal, even the
So what are the hopes of Senegal right now?
No hopes.
No. You think Ecuador will defeat Senegal?
I think Ecuador, it's going to be tough for Ecuador as far as I'm concerned. But with what Senegal, even the game against Qatar yesterday.
I think all Ecuador needs from that game is a draw.
A draw. And
Senegal needs a win.
They are going into that match with, that. And for a defense that the Netherlands even found difficult to break, then I find
But Senegal scored 3 goals against Qatar.
No, I'm talking about a defense that the Netherlands couldn't score, more than 1 goal against Ecuador. They found it difficult to break the resilience, of that particular team. So I'm not sure if, it would be an easy task for a Senegal side.
Okay, well, Samuel there with his analysis, and at the end of the day, he says Senegal will not be able to defeat Ecuador and qualify for the round of 16 of the FIFA World Cup. Well, do you agree with Samuel? Do you think that Senegal will not qualify from the Group A of the FIFA World Cup? All they need is a win from their game against Ecuador. Well, Ecuador only needs a draw. After getting that draw against Netherlands yesterday, all Ecuador needs is a draw, and they would have qualified for the round of 16 of the tournament. Let's get your thoughts. Let's hear your thoughts if you think Senegal can get the better of Ecuador in their final round of games. Now, quickly, let's talk about the other team that we Africans are putting our hopes on, and that is Ghana. Ghana, with that beautiful performance against Portugal in their first game of the tournament. Now they take on South Korea. We saw South Korea against Uruguay. Very lethargic performance, and I'm telling myself, Ghana can beat South Korea, even Uruguay, and qualify with 6 points from that group.
Yeah, it's something that looks very, very possible. I mean, you look at their group right now, and unfortunately, Uruguay and South Korea probably household names, in football. Well, people will disagree with South Korea, actually. But unfortunately, 90 minutes match, they couldn't score goals. And even when it comes to shot on target that day, it was very minimal. And Ghana being able to, with a very brilliant performance. At the end of the day, the first half, it was a very conservative performance from that particular side. And I don't know what the coach Otoado told them when they went in. They came out refreshed, re-energized, and as much as their all-attacking gameplay gave them some couple of goals, it's also led them to committing some couple of errors, especially not being able to, keep that high line defense very well against the Portuguese side. But I would, want to go to the first game this year also. They are running the African Cup of Nations, and to be candid, it's nothing to write home about. But after the African Cup of Nations, after the qualification,
looks like they have picked up.
Yeah,
they've added some foreign nationals,
they've added some foreign nationals. They defeated Switzerland. I think they defeated Nicaragua. Played Brazil also. They lost 3-0 to Brazil, and some couple of brilliant, performances. And I was having that conversation with a friend. This Ghanaian side, the FA knew what they were doing. At some points, we had these similar problems. We were stuck with, should we, go with our own coach in Austin Eguafon, or should we bring?
But somehow Ghana have been able to marry both, because yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? Yeah. Chris Hughton was on the sidelines too, but it looks like Otto Addo was in charge.
Otto Addo was actually in charge.
So it looks like they have been able to Abdul marry the technical advisor role and the head coach role.
Exactly. They needed, Chris Hughton to bring in the likes of Mohamed Salisu and some couple of other, expatriates, or should I say Ghanaians.
I'm sure he had a hand in Tariq Lamptey, deciding for Ghana.
Deciding for Ghana and some couple of other, players in diaspora that they had. And the way they were able to merge the expertise of both sides. Otto Addo also worked with Borussia Dortmund, coming with a huge, plethora of, tactical brilliance and everything. Nigeria on the other side, we were. I don't want to shade Nigeria today, but as it stands right now, I mean, with that very beautiful performance against Portugal, I think at the end of the day, even if they don't get to get brilliant results against this particular side, I think we should be able to settle for a best loser slot. Actually,
okay, well, we should be able to settle for the best loser slot. You mean that? Wait, I don't understand.
We're an African team, I mean, probably a win over South Korea and maybe a draw
against Uruguay and maybe Ghana qualifies. Okay, all right, let's quickly take some comments on our Facebook fan page. And of course, we are streaming live, just in case you have not heard. We are actually streaming live, and we have so many comments right now on Facebook. TJ Lord Crown DMO, thank you so very much. He says we're doing well. Also, Olasendi Abibola says welcome from Okpayemi, from Bagi area in Ibadan. Paul Inechi Okike says, good afternoon, Femighty. Nice to have you in World Sport. Senegal and Ghana will make Africa proud at the World Cup. I believe make Africa proud means that they will actually win. Other comment here says, good afternoon, Femighty. I don't see any African team qualifying. Wow. To the next round, I could fancy Senegal, but I don't see them beating Ecuador. Keep on doing a good job. My blood is blue. Okay, I think that's a Chelsea fan. Good afternoon, Femighty and Samuel. Think Senegal and Ghana will move on to the next round. Great job in the studio. Okay, thank you so much for your messages. You can also send your calls into the studio on 0809 155 1055 or 0805 699 8678 or 0706 949 3000. Those are the numbers to reach the studio. Okay, quickly, leaving the World Cup issues. By the way, let's just confirm to you that the final whistle have been blown, and Tunisia have just lost against Australia, which realistically, not mathematically, but realistically, have sent them out of the FIFA World Cup. So we are seeing realistically maybe about 2 African countries out of the World Cup, because honestly, I don't see, but just to get your thoughts, I hope we're on the same page when I say I don't see Cameroon defeating both Serbia and Brazil to make it to the round of 16.
Well, impossibility in the world of football, is something that, I mean, just a couple of days ago, Qatar shocked the whole world and slaughtered some people's goats.
Qatar, you mean Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia, sorry, And even Qatar coming into this World Cup, I mean, shutting their league down 6 months to prepare for the World Cup. And while preparing, they played, when I was counting, they played in excess of 30 goals, actually, about 36 games, and playing, all round. Portugal, Saudi Arabia, played Lazio at some points, and look at them struggling to score in this particular tournament. So, maybe I should stop hoping. Cameroon, it's very difficult for them to actually, surprise anybody in this particular tournament, judging by what African teams have been doing, actually. But the Asians, very surprising. And like I was saying yesterday, if you just oppose the opponents that the Asians have actually had to what Africans have had in this tournament, you will know that African, teams actually had it better than the Asians. But in terms of results, the Asians are doing better than us. I mean, Saudi Arabia defeated Argentina, and Qatar, a very brilliant performance against Ecuador. South Korea, Japan defeated Germany. South Korea, a draw against Uruguay. And you want to come to the African side, unfortunately, lost, draws, and, maybe beautiful performances.
Okay, well, that's the updates coming from Qatar. So it's looking like, we just have to keep praying for African teams because, of course, despite the fact that, Nigeria is not there, but we are Africans, and most of us are actually rooting for African teams to at least go far at this tournament. Someone like Samuel Eto'o has said that 2 Africans are set to play the final of this World Cup. Those two play teams look like they have the toughest route out of their group right now. But anything can happen.
Yeah, Morocco is another side that I'm looking forward to. I mean, after a draw against Croatia, being able to play Zlatko Dalic man at bay, I think their next group.
But then their next game is against Belgium. And then even when I saw what Canada played against Belgium, I tell myself, can Morocco defeat this Canada? But I guess we'll have to find out. But we've got to leave the FIFA World Cup right about now. And of course, I move to all the stories. And this time we talk about Formula One this afternoon. Well, the first news coming from Formula One before we talk about the review of the season is that, Red Bull have confirmed Daniel Ricciardo as their third driver for 2023. We knew that it was going to be, we don't say clubless, we was going to be constructorless, at the end of this season. But we never thought that Daniel Ricciardo would go for a third driver option, which means that he may never participate in the 2023 season unless something happens to Checo or Max Verstappen. Is this a good deal for Daniel Ricciardo?
Well, looking at the way the world of Formula One has been going right now, and there's been some couple of, Daniel Ricciardo is 33 years old, and take it or leave it, this is, should I say, the peak of his career, actually, and the past couple of performances, especially in the world of Formula One, hasn't really been so good. So as it stands right now, Max Verstappen just picked up the second Drivers' Championship on a row in 2 years, actually, and Sergio Perez is being a very beautiful and of course a very brilliant wingman. That's the word of Valtteri Bottas, actually, saying he knows how to play that wingman role. So Sergio Perez also, and I think
although I don't know how willing he would be to play the wingman role next season, especially with what Max Verstappen did in the second to the last race, where all he just had to do was allow Perez pass so he can finish at least second on the Drivers' Championship. Yeah. And he said for his own reasons, no.
Yeah, it's what I was actually getting to. The thing is, Max Verstappen, for everything we say about him, the rush of blood, we said, and everything, I think if Red Bull decides to give those two guys, I'm talking about Checo, Sergio Perez, and of course Max Verstappen right now, give them, the liberty to run at each other. At the end of the day, maybe Max will still come tops, but it's going to be very, interesting competition between those two guys.
And maybe counterproductive for the team, don't you think?
Well, maybe at the end of the day, maybe counterproductiveness will set in at some point in time. But at least with the way it stands right now, bringing in a Daniel Ricciardo, I think the goal of Christian Horner is to help to a very large extent diversify Daniel Ricciardo, and I think they needed him to help train some couple of other young guns that they have within their ranks, diversify, like I said. Max Verstappen is European, and Daniel Ricciardo to a very large extent. So to just cut the long story short, you would probably want to say not a very good day for Daniel Ricciardo as far as me I'm concerned, but you look at the next gens that are coming on right now, Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda, and the likes of Lance Stroll, and what they've been able to do, within the circuits when given the chance, they've been quite surprising. And I don't think the big guys or any constructors in the F1 want to go for, old age right now. And, it's just lying fallow. So it's a deal that works for both sides. Help us test our materials, help us, train some couple of young guns, help us diversify. Why,
and then also gets a team.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to pitch his tent with and say, okay, I'm a third driver at least. So anything happening to any of those guys, well, Formula One is still ravaging, COVID-19 is still ravaging in some couple of, in some countries. So should anything happen to any of those drivers, it gets to step in for them. And who says he can't prove himself?
And also, you mentioned Mick Schumacher. Well, Mercedes have also confirmed that they are considering bringing Mick Schumacher also on as a third driver. We know that they are preparing for post Lewis Hamilton. Are we looking at the end of Lewis Hamilton's career, a George Russell first driver and a Mick Schumacher second driver kind of something?
Well, it's looking that way, actually. You actually can predict the world of Formula One. Well, after 2026 will be very, very interesting because we're having some couple of other constructors coming in, some, via partnership, and some, wanting to actually stake a claim. And to a very large extent also, there are some rule shake-up. Spending limits, spending cap, and everything that is happening, the revamp that is happening in the world of Formula One right now. Some couple of other Arabian peninsulas are looking to key in, this post-washing of its in, bring Formula One to their country, and, it's in terms of money and everything that will be going around, it's definitely going to be very crazy. Now, what's happening to Mercedes and, of course, Lewis Hamilton? It's a very long story. Unfortunately, W13 wasn't anything to write home about this particular season, especially. And Lewis Hamilton finishing, not even finishing 5th. I think he finished 6th, if my memory serves me right. And this is the third time in a 17 years career that his fellow teammate is going to be actually finishing ahead of him. So Mick Schumacher, with the potential he actually showed in F2, at some point in time was the champion. It actually wouldn't, be surprising if Mercedes decides to bring him on board.
Okay, and quickly, let's just do a quick review of the Formula One season. Well, it ended last weekend with Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi, with Max Verstappen winning his 15th race of the season. Of course, long before then, he had already secured his world title champion, his second world title.
I think that happened in Suzuka,
Japan. And after a race after Suzuka, Japan, Red Bull also secured the Constructors' Championship. So nothing was at stake. But then, Lewis Hamilton without a win in the whole of 2022 season. That was not something that we saw coming, especially considering the kind of title race that we saw in 2021.
I think probably winning too much got into Mercedes' head, and going into this particular season, their engineers and their team, decided, I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, what they were doing in their garages wasn't...
So do you think it was more of errors from the garage than the driver stepping up on the track?
No. Definitely. I mean, even Sergio Russell, George Russell, who was given the chance last season. The few little chance he was given, he proved that he can even do better than Valtteri Bottas, actually, if, given the same platform on the same platter of gold. So I think the W19 was a very, very big failure.
Okay.
Prosthetics, downforce, everything that they had to, put into that particular. It was not like they were, interested in winning. It was more like they were doing modeling for Formula One, like they were doing Fashion Paris. So I think all the faults came from a very bad, what can I call it right now? The engineers actually didn't do a good job.
I mean, at some
backstage.
point, Toto Wolff was apologizing to Lewis Hamilton, saying they failed him, they let him down, and all that.
Race in, race out, they were working, trying as much as possible to figure out what the problem was. But unfortunately, they will fix one problem, another problem will emerge, and they will go into the next race trying to fix the new problem that emerged, and they will tamper with something else. Even Lewis Hamilton said it after the
when the season started, it was porpoising. The car was bouncing. They seemed to fix that. But then, the downforce, then at some point, I think their speed reduced.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just one thing after the other.
So, at the end of the day, Lewis Hamilton even said it after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, saying that, he was very happy that this particular season is actually over. They started with a car they did not want, and of course, finished with a car that they absolutely disliked. So, it was more of that. And at the end of the day, I think it was the Mercedes backroom staff that actually let Lewis Hamilton down, and not the other way around.
Okay, well, let Lewis Hamilton down. Maybe we should quickly say, what should we expect? Just a little, of course, there'll still be time to preview next season before March, but then what should we expect when it comes to title race next season? Do you see Mercedes coming back? Do you see Ferrari stepping up? They tried, but at the end of the day, they were still far away from what Max Verstappen offered. Do you see stiffer title race, Drivers' Championship race when 2023 comes on?
Yeah, well, it's too early. I mean, we just finished the Formula One this season, and it's more like finishing an English Premier League and looking forward to next season already. There are some couple of changes that will be made. There are some couple of other new laws that will be introduced in the world of Formula One. And as far as I'm concerned as a sport journalist, I would actually want to wait for that before I come out to make my pronouncement as it stands right now.
Okay, all right, definitely. That's the stance of Samuel concerning the Formula One season. Well, we've got to go for a quick break, a commercial break on the show this afternoon. When we come back from this break, we'll talk about basketball. The NBA games were played in the early hours of this morning. Then we cross over and talk about sports on the Nigerian scene. Earlier this week, in fact, just yesterday, the World Athletics confirmed 5 Nigerian female athletes to compete at next year's tournament. We'll talk about all that. And also the Flying Eagles. 40 players have been called up to the camp of the Flying Eagles by Ladambo. So we'll talk about all that and more when we come back from this break.
Splash FM 105.5.
It's Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales. This Friday at all Food Court outlets in Ibadan, Lagos and Abeokuta, Food Court Black Friday Gidigba sales with never seen before discounts on all your favorite items. Power oil 4.5 liters, 7,290 naira, now 5,999 naira 99 kobo. Hypo bleach 1 liter, 1,080 naira, now 889 naira 99 kobo. Chivita premium juice 1 liter, 795 naira, now 599 naira 99 kobo. Nestle Golden Morn Classic with soya 800 grams, 1,720 naira, now 1,399 naira. Cadbury Bonvita Vitality Drink 500 grams, 1,250 naira, now 999 naira 99 kobo. You can also order online at www.foodco.ng. Get ready for the grand opening of our new store at Alawa Kala Express on Friday, 2nd December 2022. Foodco Black Friday Gidigba sales from Friday 25th to Sunday 27th November 2022. Offers available while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí aláboyún, ó ṣe pàtàkì kí n tọ́jú ara mi kí n sì wà ní ìlera pípé.
Kí ìwọ àtoyún inú ẹ lè wà ní ìlera tó péye. Máa lo oògùn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó ní áyọ̀nù nínú àti folic acid lójoojúmọ́ lákòókò tó bá lóyún. Eléyìí ń dènà àìtó ẹ̀jẹ̀ nínú oyún, yóò sì jẹ́ kóyún wà lálàáfíà. Rántí o, máa lo oògùn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó ní áyọ̀nù nínú àti folic acid lójoojúmọ́ lákòókò tó bá lóyún. Fún ìlera pípé, ẹ máa yọjú sí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera yín fún ìtọ́jú oyún nígbà tó yẹ. Ìkéde yìí wá láti ẹ̀ka àkànṣe iṣẹ́ ARIN nílé iṣẹ́ ètò ìlera ìjọba àpapọ̀.
December wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́ ọdún tí ń parí lọ nìyẹn àlejò ọlọ́dọọdún tá a máa ń gbà tó ti dé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe rẹ̀ Santa Claus bàbá kérésì ẹlẹ́bùn yàfùyàfù àwọn ìwé tí ń retí rẹ̀ ti pẹ́ o.
Merry Christmas.
Ọkọ̀ òfurufú ti lọ gbé bàbá kérésì wá láti Róòmù ó balẹ̀ bàgẹ́ síkà Alágẹ̀lú FM àti Splash FM nílùú Ìbàdàn. FM Lagelu FM Father Christmas Fun Fair 2022 ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kejìlá ọdún yìí December 1 ní bàbá kérésì ó ti máa bá ògo wẹrẹ ṣeré fún wọn lẹ́bùn tó jọjú pẹ̀lú orin ìdíje lóríṣiríṣi ojú kíkùn àtàwọn mèremère míì tó máa múnú àwọn ọmọ dùn ètò yípo toríire ìyẹn raffle draw tó ń bẹ láti fẹ̀bùn ọ̀tún ṣèfàjẹ́ $2,000 náírà 2,000 naira lọ́mọ kó fi wọlé wo bàbá kérésì gbẹ̀bùrabandẹ̀ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ATM stand tó wà ní Palm Shopping Mall Ring Road nílùú Ìbàdàn fún àwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ àtàwọn olóṣèlú tó fẹ́ kọ́mọ wá lọ́pọ̀ yanturu ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ 0805-699-8703. Splash FM Lagelu FM Father Christmas Fun Fair 2022. Ọdún Ayabo.
Iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná a máa fúnni ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ a sì máa mú ìdẹ̀rùn wá láti wá dènà ìjàmbá iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná ojúlówó wáyà tàbí kébù ló yẹ ká fi fa iná nínú ilé lọ́fíìsì àti nínú ìlú Pure wires and cables ní àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ mọ̀nàmọ́ná àti àwọn agbaṣẹ́ṣe yàn láàyò ojúlówó ni kì í bó lára kò kì í jóná àbáàdì kì í kán sínú ó sì fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ ìdí nìyí tí Standard Organization of Nigeria fi fòǹtẹ̀tẹ̀ tí Nigeria Electrical Contractors náà fi dìbò fún bí copper cable ṣe wà ní aluminium cable ń bẹ nípele lówó tí kò gún pa Pure wires and cables tó jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Kaman ló ṣe ojúlówó wires and cable jáde olú iléeṣẹ́ Pure wires and cables limited wà ní Afrins Compound Fort Gate number 122/132 Oṣòdì Apapa Expressway Ìyànà Ìsọlọ̀ bus stop Lagos ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní 080-803-03257 Pure wires and cables ìrọ̀rùn fi iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná.
Nǹkan mẹ́ta tá à ń fẹ́ jùlọ nínú ìgbé ayé wa ní ìdùnnú, òmìnira àti ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Kàn sí wa lónìí ní Tọ́pẹ́ Edward Realty Company Limited ká sì tọ́ ọ sọ́nà bó ṣe rìn bóyá o fẹ́ ta ilẹ̀ tàbí ilé ni tàbí o sì fẹ́ rà á. Tó o bá ra ilé tàbí ilẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìtọ́sọ́nà wa ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ àti ìdùnnú pípé dájú fún ọ nítorí pé ìwọ náà yóò mọ̀ wípé dúkìá tó yanrantí lo kówó rẹ lé. Èyí ń wá nìkan kọ́ o a tún ní àwọn ilẹ̀ àti ilé tá a ti ṣèwádìí wọn dájúdájú tó fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ gidi fún rírà. Pè wá báyìí lórí 08152250214 tàbí 0809-842-3000. o sì tún lè kàn sí ọ́fíìsì wa ní Decat House Ring Road Ìbàdàn. Tọ́pẹ́ Edward Realty Company Limited, ìdùnnú, òmìnira àti ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀.
Kí ló ṣe tẹlifíṣàn yìí tóun rẹ̀ ò já giri ó tún wá ń wò báyìí látàánú tí náà bá ti ranjú kalẹ̀ fíríjì yóò tún tutù.
kí ló dé náà táwọn èrò tí ń lo nánú yàrá ìwà dẹnu kọlẹ̀.
ọ̀gá tipátipá ni mo fi rọrùn sùn látàrí ariwo tí jẹnẹrétọ̀ rẹ̀ ń pa wàhálà wà fẹ́ni tí ò mọ ibi tí wọ́n ti ń ta ojúlówó ohun èlò tí ń lo náà lẹ́ńtíríkì o.
Solar Telecoms àti Electronic Store jagaban láàrin àwọn tó ń ta ojúlówó fóònù àti electronics pẹ̀lú owó tí ò kájàra lọ lákòókò yìí. Bákan náà ni Solar tá a máa fún yín ní ìdá 20% lórí àwọn ẹ̀rọ bíi flat screen TVs, deep freezers, generator, air conditioners, gas cooker àti àwọn ohun èlò yòókù tẹ́ bá rà lọ́wọ́ wọn.
Kí ló ń dúró dè? Kàn sí èyíkéyìí yàrá ìfihàn Solar tó wà ní Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ Way, JLN ní Dùgbẹ̀, Balloon Building, Àbáyọ̀mí bus stop, Ìwó Road, Solar Mega Store ní Mọ́kọ́lá àti Challenge ìlú Ìbàdàn. Lọ sí èyíkéyìí tó bá súnmọ́ lónìí kó o rọjú lọ́wọ́ fóònù àti electronics tó gbámṣé.
Pé Solar Electronics lónìí sórí 0813-539-9886 tàbí 0816-706-6973.
Àjọsọ àtìlànà ń tẹ̀lé ń bẹ o.
O gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ gbádùn ayé tó dára.
Splash FM 105.5.
Okay, welcome back from that break. And of course, this is still Sport, World Sport on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Time check right about now is 24 minutes gone past the hour of 1. And quickly, let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the results of games that were played in the early hours of this morning when it comes to the regular season of the NBA. Well, early hours of this morning, Brooklyn Nets were beaten again. Well, it was a very disappointing one, not for Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant still came up with the highest pointer in the game, 30 points. But for Brooklyn Nets, they were beaten, and it's looking like, well, maybe Kevin Durant was right to have, wanted to leave in the summer. Remember, he actually expressed his willingness, or should I say, his desire to leave Brooklyn Nets at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, he couldn't get a franchise that could accommodate his wage bill, and unfortunately he had to stay at Brooklyn Nets. Indiana Pacers defeated Brooklyn Nets 128-117. Other selected results in the early hours of this morning: Houston Rockets got the better of Atlanta Hawks 128-122. Boston Celtics defeated Sacramento Kings 122-104. And LA Lakers, they hardly win, but this time they won 105-94 against the San Antonio Spurs. Other results: defending champions Golden State Warriors got the better of Utah Jazz 129-118, and Denver Nuggets beat LA Clippers 114-104. And may I also say that Milwaukee Bucks, they came back to winning ways, defeating Cleveland Cavaliers. Somehow, let's quickly talk about some of the performances of teams in the NBA this season. Brooklyn Nets, to be precise. I mean, how long before Kevin Durant, just like Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester United, would have to separate himself from Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, I have Piers Morgan's Twitter and probably just put a podcast.
if you need an interview, you know?
Yeah. Put a culture, or maybe Femighty should do this one. Just call Femighty. I know some, little bit of video editing. How if you do the video editing?
But seriously, Ben Simmons played. What's his name? Kevin Durant played, and the other guy also played, and 20 points, 30 points, and they still lost.
To be candid, I've not been following the NBA this season, like I said earlier, and it was due to personal reasons. I mean, what Udoka did last season, what is happening to Kyrie Irving right now, the heavy punishments, and I don't like throwing, racism and everything, but I think, for example, I look at the World Cup, England, Netherlands, Belgium, they are shouting, gay, we want to wear one love armband, which I'm totally not against. But this is the same, England, the FA of English, the English FA chairman actually last year, was seen shining seats, shaking. Okay, I think I wrote it somewhere, so let me get the right up again. They were busy signing deals with Qataris, and of course, they were trying as much as possible. Okay, according to what I wrote here, the English FA chairman, Greg Clark, posed alongside Sheikh Ahmad bin Khalifa, Ahmed Al-Thani, the president of the Arabian Gulf Football Association. The pair actually swapped jerseys, showing each other's names and the number 22 to represent the 2022 Qatar World Cup. And they also signed a deal with Qatar Supreme Committee for delivery and legacy of the World Cup. They also signed, with one particular other organization. I mean, money changing hands, but when it comes to
So this is just the optics. This is just for the optics.
This is just optics. And at the end of the day, you have a stance. FIFA said you get a yellow card, and you decided to back down. Of course, like I said, there are conversations that I don't want to go into very much deeper. But at the end of the day, if you look at it very well, you see that it's bunch of hypocrisy going on around. And at the end of the day, they are just using the fans and of course pundits alike. They are just using us as pawns. You do another thing backstage, you come to the front of the camera, you tell us another thing that this is what you stand for. At the end of the day, you should stand for absolutely the opposite. Backstage.
Well, it is what it is, actually. Well, that's basically, sometimes the world works. Okay, quickly, let's move away from that and let's talk about sport on the Nigerian scene. And we start with athletics. Ahead of the World Athletics Championship in 2023, according to the World Athletics, following the launch of their road to Budapest yesterday, they confirmed that 5 Nigerian women are officially confirmed to be among the athletes that will participate at the 19th edition of the World Athletics Championship next year, August, in Budapest, Hungary. The 5 sprinters are Favor Ofili, Grace Nwokocha, Rosemary Chukuma, sprint hurdler Toby Amoshon, and long jumper Ese Brume. 2 of the 5 relay teams have also secured qualification to the championships, the flagship event of the World Athletics. The 2 relay teams are the 4x100 and the 4x400. 5 ladies have qualified for next year's World Athletics Championship already. Are we looking at topping, the performance of Ese Brume, Toby Amoson at the next edition in August next year?
Yeah, this year has been a very brilliant one for Nigeria.
Especially for the ladies. Looks like the ladies really stepped up big time.
Exactly, especially in the world of athletics. I've been very impressed. It's been a tough situation, really. I mean, earlier this year, we're talking about a ban for one of our athletes. And just a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, the FBI actually released more like an expose, finding or to indict about 5 Nigerian athletes being involved in fraud schemes. Actually, but I think we need to give these ladies kudos, and this is more like in a time when different organizations, different countries are being accused of doping. I mean, the United States, about 5 of the athletes this season.
Kenya, a whole lot of athletes in Kenya.
A whole lot of athletes in Kenya, and people are starting to question the involvement of African teams, especially looking at what we've been able to do. So I'm happy that aside the fraud accusation to 5 of our athletes, we are not, this is sort of a comic, something to take our face off those negativity that has been coming, really. So this year it's been very brilliant. I think for the 4x100 meters relays for the ladies and the 4x400 mixed relay, actually, that was thanks to World Athletics actually revamping their qualification rule. In the past, it was usually straight the 16 top countries in the world. So if you don't come within the brackets, you'd actually miss out. And something at some point in time, we almost lost out at qualifying for the Oregon Championship in 2022 because we were on position number 16 in the past.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in Liberia, they were able to beat the mark and the time run by our ladies, and Liberia, pushed us out for some couple of hours before they found out that I think what happened in Liberia was wind aided. Then they pushed them and they brought them back in. But the new rule is that the top 8 teams in Oregon in the last World Athletics Championship due to COVID-19 and everything that has happened. We qualify automatically, and another top 8 teams, just by the normal ranking. So right now, Nigeria goes straight into that particular slot because we did well at Oregon.
Just
so
concluded
very brilliant for us. And what our ladies, Esebrume, Oluwatobiloba Musa have been able to do, I think very brilliant. And I think it actually doesn't stop at that. Last 3 days ago, I was doing a comprehensive review of athletics, and this is something that actually saddens my heart in the Nigerian scene. And the NCAA, the Indoor College Athletics Championship, for this year's edition, it actually happened in Birmingham. And let me start reading out of the names of Nigerians that actually flew our flag high up there. And I will follow with the university that they actually represented. Nigeria, Favor Ofili, Louisiana State University. We had the likes of Favor Ashe, University of Tennis. We had the likes of Ruth Usoro, Texas Tech University. We had the likes of Emmanuel Ine and University of Alabama. We had the likes of Isaac Odugbeson, University of Alabama, Best Erie, Middle Tennis State University. So to just cut the long story short, because of our time, these ladies that are doing us proud are not doing us proud because we invested massively into their development.
It's because they went out there and sought themselves support from outside. And same with the likes of Tobi Amusan to Esebrume. None of them trains in Nigeria.
I mean, Tobi Esebrume, Cyprus. I think Tobi
Amusan, United States,
and the likes of Olusoji. I mean, so obviously, probably a Samuel Ajibola that is running for his department in, probably the University of Ibadan right now, representing maybe mechanical electronics engineering department, absolutely stands no chance because we don't have something on ground to catch them young. Our Noga Games, when was the last time it's even held? Even after holding, where are the talents we are able to pick from there? I mean, it saddens my heart that we are doing brilliantly, but unfortunately, yes, as much as
it's not a reflection of growth of athletics in Nigeria.
So, and it will be easy for the administrators to actually neglect us on the home scene. We
are doing well. When we go for competitions, we do well.
We are doing well, so let's just keep. It saddens my heart actually. But like I said, kudos to the ladies and of course the guys that have qualified. I hope they can do well in Budapest 2023.
Okay, definitely. And of course, let's also confirm to you that ahead of Egypt 2023, Ladamboso have invited 40 players into the camp of the Flying Eagles. The camp opens tomorrow, Monday, on Monday 28th. That's the day after tomorrow of November, ahead of the tournament that will go down in Egypt from the 18th of February to the 12th of March. This tournament is very important because all the 4 teams in the semi-final of the African Under-23 Championship would qualify for the World Under-20 World Cup, which is, of course, what we are looking forward to. I mean, it's been a while since we participated at the World Under-20, the Under-20 World Cup. So quickly, let's talk about the invited players. For the goalkeepers, we've got Nathaniel Amosu for Water FC, Kingsley Aniga Boso from Giant Brilliers Academy, Sahid Jimo from Adoration FC, Kehinde Ogundele from Insurance FC, and Edward Ame from Mailakarti FC in Nigeria here. Defenders, we've got Oluwatosin Adegbite from Iyimba, Benjamin Frendix from Nasarawa United, David Sholumade from Akwa United, Sunday Arono from Wiki Tourist, Dominion Ohaka from Water FC, Shaibu Hassan from Smart City FC, Solomon Agbalaka from Broad City, Adedoyin Odele from 36 Lions, and Junior Unduka from Remo Stars. Those are the defenders. For the midfielders, we've got Daniel Daga from Dakada FC, Hassan Anas from Vandersa, Ogbelu Onuche from Fosla FC, Udo Gordon from City FC in Abuja, Mohamed Aminu from Gombe United, Sambo Shehu from Katsina United, Samuel Longback from Plateau United, Ozuka Ogochukwu from Katsina United, Alex Onyewa from Bayelsa United, Obiako Ifesinachi from 36 Lions, Caleb Ochediko from Mavlon FC, Christopher Chinedu from Unique FC, and Isaac Ayuma from Mavlon FC. And for the 4 players, we've got Rilwan Aliru from Myhanam FC, Tolulopa Ojo from Phoenix FC, John Edwin from Water Sparta FC, Divine Nwachukwu from Insurance FC, Albert Ilari from Plateau United, Ibrahim Yahaya from Wiki Tourist, Umar Badamasi from Air Kanemi Warriors, Adam Abdurrahman from Mainamim FC, Aziz Akitunde from 3SC here in Ibadan, Sunday Emmanuel from Empire FC, Emmanuel Jonas from Niger Tornadoes, Francis Ayuba from Nassau United, and Emmanuel Justin from Unique FC. First and foremost, should I be glad that a 3SC player was involved, or should I be saddened that out of 40 players drawn from basically the Nigerian scene, only one Shooting Stars player made it into the court? Okay. Aziz Akitunde.
Right now, we have hundreds of academies scattered across the Nigerian scene, and of course, this is an under-20 tournament. So definitely you expect that the players that are called up are, 18, 19, and 20. So that a 3SC player actually made it under 20. Definitely, I think the last under 23 we had about two. The one played here against Tanzania. We had
about two players.
Players right now. So we should be looking forward to 3SC players actually getting called up to the national team. And I don't think we should be saddened that just only one, of all the hundreds of feeders team and of course academies that we have across board scattered around. I think we should be happy that
1 out of 40 is good enough.
Yeah.
Well, the likes
I don't think you mentioned the likes of Enyimba.
Enyimba had one. But then the likes of Remo Stars. Okay, Lobby did not have any, but the likes of Remo Stars, Aqua United, Insurance FC, had multiple players actually. The likes of Plateau United Katsina United had multiple players.
Well, we know Remo Stars setup and how that looks to be the best run club in the country right now, courtesy of what the MD is actually doing with that particular side. And I think en route qualification, I monitored. I remember we played Ghana first. Ghana are the winners of this particular, the last edition. We defeated them 2-0. Yeah. Then we went on to play, I think it was Burkina Faso. We defeated them. No, Benin, we played a 2-0 draw. We defeated Ivory Coast 2-1. And of course, I think we played Burkina Faso also, defeating them 2-1 to qualify. So, and there were some couple of Remo Stars guys that were on the scorer sheets. And I think to a very large extent, I've been very impressed with, the setup of that particular team. And just to answer your question and cut it the long story short, we should be happy that at least we have, someone to fly the Olio League and Warriors flag in that particular team.
Okay, so talking about the preparation for the tournament, now the under 20 African Cup of Nations, what should we expect from this Ladan Bosso team? Because it's been a little bit disappointing in the last couple of years. What should we expect from this particular team? And the fact that they are starting early. I mean, the tournament is in February, but the camp already opens on Monday.
Yeah.
And the early preparation precedes sometimes Sussex.
Something that, we are not used to on the Nigerian scene. Probably 3 months to the commencement of the tournament. Oh, sorry, did I say 3 months? Say 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That is when we start pulling players from left, right, and center and trying as much as possible to, get them to gel together. Now, Ladan Bosso, like I said, en route qualification, he has done a very beautiful work as far as I'm concerned, and I think like I said earlier, defeating the defending champions in Ghana and defeating an Ivory Coast national team, defeating Benin Republic, and of course it was a 2-0 draw to Burkina Faso in that particular qualification round. So the only thing that I probably have problem against is at this point in time, today is the 26th day in the month of November, and it's just about max 2 months. We have less than 3 months actually. Just maybe 2 months.
So are you saying this preparation is not even early enough?
I'm not saying it's not early enough. I'm just saying probably at this point in time we should not be deciding to do chop and screw anymore. I mean, let's have a 23-man squad.
Already?
Already. Because this, maybe en route qualification, some people would have actually crushed that particular age grade and everything. But I expect that you should have the core of the team that you qualified with. And put that core together, train with them. If you play friendlies across Nigeria,
this is
what you are. But right now, it's very evident that we have chopped and screwed, that particular side that qualified, and we are just putting together a new side. Now, I agree that probably some people would have crossed the age mark, gone over 20 and above. Some people probably would have left Nigerian scene and traveled abroad, and their agent will say he cannot play for you anymore because he has a trial. But 40. I mean, we should still be able to gather at least about 15 from that particular side. So they understood each other, and let's just go into proper, preparation. But 40, once again, I don't have any problem with it. Actually, I'm just saying it would be better if you have the 23-man squad right now,
or at least maybe 25 or
exactly.
30.
So you probably want to chop out 4 or 5 from the team, and we'll keep it at that.
Okay, so 40 may be too much, but then that's what we've got right now, and of course we see what happens, and let's just see how that goes. Okay, quickly, let's move away from that, and of course let's go back to the FIFA World Cup as we conclude on the show this afternoon. And now, Masamo, we'll have to do some permutations. But before we do that, let's just confirm to you that in a couple of minutes' time, one of the games, the second game for today, would actually be up and running, and that would be Poland up against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia only needs a win against Poland today, and they would qualify for the round of 16, which will mean that only one of Argentina, Mexico, or Poland would be able to pick another ticket. Can Saudi Arabia repeat what they did earlier this week by defeating Poland and booking a place in the round of 16?
Yeah, I think you will see that defeat against Argentina was actually not a fluke. It was not, mere luck.
Really, even with with the kind of first half that they had.
Exactly. It was not sheer luck. It was not probably, they had intents. They knew what they wanted to do. And even the goals that, they kept chopping off for Argentina in the first half, those guys knew what they were doing. Because at some point, I'll be like, are you guys normal? I mean, you have Messi,
they were obviously playing highline, which
worked perfectly.
I mean, and most people will have thought that a team like that will form a low block and try to bounce out anything that Argentina would throw at them.
The intention of keeping that high line and, intentionally just go. It was, I think it was very
Messi
brilliant.
Scored an offside goal. Lautaro Martinez scored 2. I mean, even Di Maria multiple times was off.
At some point, Tagliafico also was, caught us on multiple offside position and everything. So the intent, and you need to see how well the 2 goals were taken, especially that second goal. It was a case of, and they are in high spirits right now. As it stands right now, the pressure is really not on them, and I think as it stands right now, they have what it takes to actually qualify.
Well, let's quickly take a look at the starting 11 for Poland. With Szczesny starts in goal, the likes of Matikash, Grzegorz Krokowiak, the likes of Piotr Zelinski of Napoli, Arkadiusz Milik, and Robert Lewandowski form a 2-striking partnership. Well, Milik did not start their first game of the tournament. I guess they've seen a need for him. And for Saudi Arabia, do I even need to go through it? But then one thing you need to know is that we've got Salem Al-Dawasari, one of the goal scorers against Argentina, and also Saleh Al-Shahiri, one of the goal scorers also against Argentina, both of them in the starting 11 for Saudi Arabia this afternoon. Well, moving on the FIFA World Cup, that loss for Argentina made this tournament quite dicey. This tournament for Argentina, but then this group definitely. But I'm focusing on Argentina now. Later tonight, 8 p.m. Nigerian time, Argentina takes on Mexico. They have to win this game or else they are out. What are we looking forward to tonight at 8 p.m. against Mexico?
35 games unbeaten run. Or should I say 36 right now? It's definitely not a fluke, actually. And as it stands right now, Mexico, I also monitored the qualification route for Mexico, a couple of games that they have played in preparation for this particular World Cup. It's not been very impressive, nothing to write home about because of the time that is fast spent. I probably would be able to go to it. But I think even in the North American series, and the Gold Cup especially, they struggled to impress. Playing against the likes of United States, Canada, Honduras, and the likes, you'd have expected.
I think they lost to Canada.
Yeah, you have expected that, Mexico would actually stand out brilliantly. And the people that they will be looking forward to right now, the likes of Raul Jimenez has not scored an international goal.
He wasn't even considered good enough to start their first game against Poland.
The Mexicans actually called for him to be dropped because he had not scored since 2019 for Mexico. actually. So just to cut the long story short, Argentina, we know what they have. We know
and when they are desperate, we know what they are capable of.
And like I said, Scaloni, came in through the ranks as an assistant. Of course, got the job, and what he's been able to do with that particular side. That's 5 games on meeting run, like I said, and of course helping Messi, clinch that should I say international trophy that has eluded him, stands for something. So Argentina definitely still has a chance in this particular tournament.
And of course tonight also we've gone to France. This evening, that's by 5 p.m. We've got France against Denmark. This is a dicey one. For Denmark, I'm not sure how dicey it is for France, because I think whatever happens, even if France doesn't win this one, they go ahead and beat Tunisia and they'll be fine. But talking about Denmark are quite desperate here. After that draw against Tunisia, they need a win. They need to defeat France to have any chance, or else they'll be in the same boat as Tunisia, where they have only had 1 point from 2 games, which is not a good one. But then, talking about this game also, it comes with a bit of history, because these two teams were in the same group in the UEFA Nations League, and on both occasions they lost to Denmark.
Especially those 2 matches happened this year, actually, losing to Denmark, twice this year.
And I think those games were key in
qualification for the
France actually relegating into the League B of the Nations League. But this is the World Cup, and we know that the stakes are highest here.
Well, definitely winning France twice this year stands for something. I have to be very candid, but en route this particular tournament also, England didn't unfortunately win their last 5 matches, actually, because the coach was simply test running, chopping and screwing, trying as much as possible to get perfect the team going into the World Cup. But look at England now. Although I'm not very impressed, but I mean
they be better.
They've been better. Jude Bellingham, first World Cup appearance, goal.
Bukayo Saka
first. Even Marcus Rashford. I found out that this is his first, international goal in a major tournament, actually. I was surprised when I saw that particular statistics. So I think Benzema out. Pogba and probably Kante that you have expected to provide still in the midfield also out. But you look at
were you impressed with that midfield of Rabiot and Tchouaméni against Australia? Forget about the scoreline now. That midfield, were you impressed with it against Australia?
Adrian Rabiot got a goal.
And an assist.
And provided an assist. So tell me, what else do I need?
But is that all that it is to midfield, control and organization?
Well, if you do your permutation and combination, actually, the France side, especially looking at what the edition, did World Cup 2018, you would have said, are you impressed with what the Giroud have done? Unfortunately, Giroud did not score any goal in that particular tournament. So I think what's working for this particular team, and has always worked for Didier Deschamps, is that he finds a way to actually, incorporate everyone. Everyone works together as a team. And in that match, I saw many times where Adrien Rabiot was actually overlapping, and there was someone to come from the defense to actually cover for him. So I think I was impressed by their defense. And looking at what other teams are doing right now, Germany, Argentina, England, tell me who has had it better in the World Cup?
Well, you sort of have launched us, actually. We've got to go for a quick commercial break right about now. When we come back from this break, we end the show talking about a big game to go down later tomorrow, Germany versus Spain. Germany must win this game against Spain. The last game Spain played, they scored 7 goals. Can Germany do this tomorrow night against Spain to save their World Cup hopes? We'll talk about that when we come back from this break.
Splash FM 105.5.
Grab big wins when you bet on paripesa.ng. Paripesa offers a wide range of options from sport bets, slots, casinos, virtual games, and so much more. Open paripesa.ng and create an account in just 10 seconds. It's quick and easy. You can become a winner with as low as 250 naira minimum deposit. Claim up to 100,000 naira betting bonus and up to 750,000 naira casino bonus plus 150 free spins. Paripesa guarantees high odds, massive giveaways, and VIP cashbacks. You also can win free laptops and smartphones in our regular leaderboard promos. Bet on paripesa.ng or download our application on Android and iOS. Join now, claim your bonuses using the promo code RADIO, and start winning. Paripesa. Dare to bet. Dare to win.
Tóyọ̀, ǹjẹ́ o ti gbọ́?
Pé kí ni o bá dérò?
Pé iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ ti gbọdọ̀ ọ̀nà àrà yọ.
Jọ̀ọ́ mi sì kí n rí gbọ́.
Jẹ́ ń já ẹ tán. Àǹfààní àìlẹ́gbẹ́ ni Splash FM Media Academy gbé kalẹ̀ fún gbogbo olùgbé ìlú Ìbàdàn àti agbègbè rẹ̀. Ìlò tí ìgbọ́ láti di akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ oníròyìn tó perégedé ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú ìlànà ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ òde òní yálà lórí rédíò tàbí ayélujára. Àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ olùkọ́ni tí wọ́n mọ̀ ti fún tẹ̀dọ̀ iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ wà níkàlẹ̀ láti tọ́ ọ sọ́nà tí ó tọ́ lórí onírúurú ẹ̀kọ́ bíi program development, journalism, digital media, production, news presentations. Wo mélòó ni mo fẹ́ kà? OPG ó pọ̀ gan-an.
Mo rí ọ̀nà.
Tóyọ̀, ibo ló ń sáré lọ?
Àròjọ́ Mùsùlùkùn mo ń lọ ṣe ìforúkọsílẹ̀ tèmi nìyẹn.
Tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀, lọ sí Splash FM Media Academy tí ó fẹ́ gbẹ́kẹ̀gbẹ́ pẹ̀lú Splash 105.5 FM ilé funfun báláwú fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn láti gba fọ́ọ̀mù tirẹ̀ tàbí kí o pe ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 07054393332. Splash FM Media Academy, ìdáàbòbò ìwà ọmọlúàbí nínú ètò ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́.
Victory International Church káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ń pè ọ́ sí Rehoboth 2022. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àkókò àbẹ̀wò látòkè wá fún ìgbàlà, ìwòsàn, ìtúsílẹ̀, àlùyọ àti ọ̀pọ̀ òjò ìbùkún. Àkórí ìpàdé ni ìyàlẹ́nu ńlá bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́rú ọjọ́ keje títí di ọjọ́ àìkú ọjọ́ kọkànlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2022. Látọjọ́rú títí di ọjọ́ ẹtì a ó máa pàdé ní City of Faith lójú ọ̀nà márosẹ̀ Èkó sí Ìbàdàn. Ọjọ́ Sátidé gbọ̀ngàn Wonder City tó dojúkọ City of Faith láti pàdé láago 8 òwúrọ̀ fún ìsìn ìfòròyàn. Tó bá di ọjọ́ àìkú a ó pàdé ní Rehoboth Cathedral Olúyọ̀lé Ring Road Ìbàdàn láago 8 òwúrọ̀. Bishop Taiwo Adélakùn àti Pastor Mrs. Dọlápọ̀ Adélakùn ni yóò máa ṣe iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. Wá pàdé àwọn òjíṣẹ́ nínú orin Evangelist Dr. Bọ́lá Àrẹ, Pastor Wisdom Chigozie, Monique àti BJ Sachs. Olùgbàlejò àti oníwàásù Bishop Taiwo Adélakùn àti Pastor Mrs. Dọlápọ̀ Adélakùn retí rẹ. Jésù lolúwa.
Fanfaro Autofest 2022, the Fearless Edition. This time around, speed limit will be exceeded. Come and experience the finest of drifters from around the world. On the 4th of December 2022 at Trans Amusement Park along Bodija, Ibadan. Admission requires a bottle of Fearless Energy Drink. Electrifying lineup. Toby Bakre, Peruzzi, Brymo, Alternate Sound, Kenzo, MM Sax. Fanfaro Autofest. Headline sponsor, Fearless Energy Drink. Fanfaro Autofest 2022. Drifting finesse like never before.
Santa is back bearing gifts for the Splash FM Lagelu FM for the Christmas Fun Fair 2022. Hooray! We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Give your kids the ultimate for the Christmas experience with face paintings, dancing competition, raffle draw, gift bags, and many more. You'll also get a chance to meet your favorite OAPs. Starting from the 1st of December, come and create valuable memories and stand a chance to win big with the raffle draw at the Splash FM Lagelu FM for the Christmas Fun Fair 2022, just for 2,000 Naira per child. Visit the Splash FM Lagelu FM for the Christmas beside the ATM stand, Palm Shopping Mall, Ring Road, Ibadan. For further inquiries and to book a group visit, please call 0805 699 8703. 0805-699-8703. Make it a date with Santa Claus at the Splash FM Lagelu FM for the Christmas Fun Fair 2022.
Merry Christmas. Splash FM 105.5.
Okay, welcome back to the home run of the show this afternoon. It's been a beautiful ride, but just before we go, let's just quickly talk about this very important game tomorrow, Samuel. Spain against Germany. Germany unfortunately goofed in their first game of the tournament, losing to Japan unexpectedly. Now, it's looking like Japan may qualify if they can defeat Costa Rica, which is looking like quite likely. Is this the end of the road for Germany against Spain tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult one.
Because 11 a.m., Japan defeats Costa Rica, Japan qualifies. Then it goes down to Spain versus Germany.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I try as much as possible to, stay safe and stay away from even talking about matches like this, especially when this pressure. Probably if both had won their first game, Spain won in very scintillating fashion, and unfortunately, let's say Germany wins in maybe not very scintillating, it would have been very difficult, very easier to analyze. But with everything at stake, as far as I'm concerned, probably Spain has qualified already. Though it's
looking like Japan also, considering what Costa Rica did against Spain, may have qualified also. Is this a second consecutive group stage exit for Germany?
Yeah. You look at what has happened to Germany in the past couple of years. Their football. I mean, you look at their ranks right now. How they've gone from having the likes of they still have Thomas Muller,
Michael Ballack, Miroslav Klose,
highest goal scorer in the World Cup. Now having
Philipp Lahm,
now having Timo Werner. Well, I'm not trying to throw jabs right now and say those guys are not good enough. But let me leave Germany for now and talk about Spain. I mean, those guys. I looked at their games against top sides like Netherlands, like France, Germany also, Portugal. They've always happened to create the better chances. And I also have, this particular stuff that I wrote in front of me, talking about 2022, Nations League, completing the most passes, 4,498, the most passes successfully completed, 4,025.
Gavi, Pedri, in action.
And everything that is going on right now. And Germany, like I said, I like to stay safe. So whatever happens in that particular
well, you're going to call some of those games. That'll be the last point of call on the show this evening. So Mexico, Argentina, call it.
Yeah, Argentina, Scaloni, 35. Okay, the 30 game.
We've got to go. So just call it.
Argentina.
Scoreline?
3-1.
Okay, France, Denmark also this evening, 5 p.m.
Another 4-1 victory for France.
Whoa, against Denmark?
Yeah.
And finally, of course, definitely, Spain, Germany.
Okay, I think at the end of the proceedings, it should end in a 2-2 draw. Thank you very much.
Okay, 2-2 draw, which means that probably Germany is still out. Okay, but then this is the size of the package this afternoon. Thank you so very much for joining us on this afternoon's edition of Sports Spot. Thank you so much to Bros Clev, my producer, for being very patient with me. And of course, thank you so much, Samuel, for joining us on the show this afternoon.
Yeah, your pleasure.
Okay, and of course, thank you so much to you for listening to us all through this 90 minutes. We'll be back next week, Saturday, for another edition of What Sports. But of course, Sports Bank returns on Monday morning by 7:30 a.m. Until then, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and bye for now.
Splash 105.5 FM is 15.
Happy birthday, dear. Let's have the best birthday party ever.
We party here. We party big. We party now. You are listening to your state's #1 most listened to radio station. Splash 105.5 FM.
Hey, it's Katy Perry, and this is my new song.
Splash 105.5 FM, the first and still the best.
Okay, all eyes open. Everything's blue right now. Over here. My name is Lafos, the proper goer of the comedians of the Federal Republic.
No. How many times you want me to tell you say no? That's what they say in disappear.
Hi, my name is Peteru, and you're listening to Strictly Comedy. I want power, no flag, I yet only go my jubilate. I want bar offside in this. All
right, ladies and gentlemen, firstborn in the building, right here.
Yeah, all these people are going to kill me. That's why I go down there and they laugh seriously. Talk about the wood person. When you're on Strictly Comedy, say the groove, na everlasting. As I say, that shit, so more than just Strictly Comedy, we talk about the yeah.
Welcome to another lovely, spicy edition of your favorite show, Strictly Comedy. Yes, that's what we call it.
My name is the same. Yes, sir. Temitope Fadeyi, aka Are You the One? Alagbe Jamo, Mayo Mopapa Obadore, KKK, Kudun Kopo Kope Jabrata T. Johnson. Yes, sir. And this is your rib-cracking, belly-aching, floor-rolling, mind-blowing comedy show. Your number one. Strictly comedy, yes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'll be right back.
I want to advise you, never in your life let someone who is an idiot that know how to speak good English advise you. That is the worst thing that can happen to you. One guy has been calling me. He said, Lasisi, come and see me. Let's make money together. I said, I will come, sir. I got there, he sat down, he crossed his leg. He said, Lasisi, tell me about you. I told him about me. He laughed. He said, Lasisi, you don't know who you are. Anybody that tell you don't know who you are, run for your life. I say, who am I? He said, Lasisi, oh God, oh God. You don't know what you carry. I said, what did I carry? What am I carrying? He said, Lasisi, I will shock you. Right now, how much do you make roughly in a month? I say, before I will answer, I say, Lasisi, what if I told you you can make 25 million naira monthly? I say, how? He said, no. He carried his phone, he pressed it again. He said, Lasisi, I'm sorry about the calculation. What if I told you you can make 40 million naira monthly? I say, I'm ready, sir. Tell me. Come one guy. He said, Wale, come. I don't know. I'm thinking about what we can do for Lasisi. Let's package him. He has talent. Don't you have talent? I said, I have talent, sir. He said, we'll just, the Birmingham show, take him there. Hopefully we get like 100 million naira.